So, what a way to wrap up the week. Markets were all over the place on Friday as Wall Street tried to make sense of hotter inflation data, retail numbers, and, that headline-grabbing Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. Hey everyone, it's Saturday morning, August 16th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we begin, today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital. For smart investment solutions and high-quality funds, head over to amf-capital.de. If you enjoy the podcast, please rate it wherever you're listening and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. All right, let's get to it. Let's start with stocks. The Dow just barely finished above the flat line, trimming most of its earlier gains. The Standard & Poor's 500 slipped about 0.3%, and the Nasdaq lost around 0.4% after Trump hinted at fresh tariffs on semiconductor imports. So, not the record finish some had hoped for. On the economic side, retail sales for July rose 0.5%, a bit softer than expectations, but still showing consumers are holding up after a weak spring. At the same time, consumer sentiment fell for the first time in 4 months, with longer-term inflation expectations ticking higher. That combo of higher producer prices earlier in the week and weaker sentiment really tempered hopes for a big September rate cut. Now, corporate news had some drama. United Health jumped after filings showed a massive stake taken by Berkshire Hathaway. Intel popped again on speculation the U.S. government could take a stake using CHIPS Act funds. On the flip side, Applied Materials sank about 14% after warning on weaker demand from China. And then the big political stage, Trump's meeting with Putin. The two spoke for more than 2.5 hours in Alaska, calling the talks productive, but no concrete deal was announced. Trump even said it's now up to Zelensky to make a deal, which raised a lot of eyebrows in Europe and Ukraine, where there's concern the U.S. might be shifting responsibility away from allies. Both leaders stayed vague, though Putin hinted at more cooperation in trade, the Arctic, and even space. What stood out was the lack of specifics. Lots of positive language but little substance, leaving investors and global leaders uneasy about what might come next. So, Wall Street is heading into the new week balancing rate cut bets, consumer data, and geopolitical uncertainty. So that's it for today's Capital Markets Quickie. I'll be back Monday morning with a brand new episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate the podcast, and share it with your network. Thanks for tuning in.